Jesus, bring us to be of one heart and mind within you. You are our strength, our stronghold, and our salvation. Amen. This morning, I would like to start at the beginning of today's gospel, before Jesus arrived and performed this great miracle of raising the widow's son from the dead. Let's go back in time and arrive on the scene in the small town of Nain. Let's imagine we are part of this crowd. Let us become part of the community that was helping to bury the widow's son. Can you imagine walking in the crowd, close enough to the front that you were almost walking right next to her? Close enough to see her face? So close that you could hear her crying? You might have feelings of sadness and heartbreak. Sad to see this widowed mother lose her only son. Sad knowing that without her son and the husband she had already lost, she would be alone. Feelings of those close to you in your own life might pass through your thoughts. In this story, there are a lot of unanswered questions about exactly what happened. How did this man die? What happened? We can guess that he had a difficult life, losing his father at a young age and having to care for his mother. And it doesn't say anything about any other family there, his wife or children, so you can imagine that he might have struggled to start a family. Was it the pressure that killed him, the stress on his body and on his heart? Was it an illness that killed him? Maybe he had a dangerous job with dangerous working conditions. Or maybe he was killed by someone in a random act of violence. This morning, we remember and pray for those who died in Santa Monica on Friday and for their families who mourn their loss. We are like the crowd in today's gospel who are walking behind the widow who is mourning the loss of her son. Many of our questions about what happened have been answered in news reports and in articles and on the TV. But there are many questions that won't be answered. And as we think of what happened on Friday, thoughts of all that have died because of gun violence is present in our hearts and on our minds. We think of the families who have had to bury their own family members. It's a great sadness to think about all the lives that have been needlessly cut short. A few years ago, I took a pilgrimage to the Holy Land. I traveled with my wife Jenny and a group from my church in the diocese. And on our trip, we traveled to Nain, the town in today's gospel. It's a very small Muslim village. No Christians live there anymore. And the family who cares for the church met us at the front door and let us in. The church is simple. It's a one-room building with no pews or seats, just an altar and two large pictures depicting the miracle that happened. They are pictures of Jesus and the widow and the young man rising from the dead, surrounded by a large crowd. We celebrated the Eucharist together and read today's gospel together. And when I think back on that day, something magical happened. It was as if for a brief moment our group, standing in that church, met up with the widow and the crowd that followed her, and Jesus and the crowd that was with him. And we gathered together in the church, and something became clear to all of us in that moment together. That one of the most important parts of the miracle that we were witnessing was the miracle of community. Christian community. The widow's son rising from the dead is an important part of the miracle, but so is being present to the Christian community that is all around us. It's knowing that we are not alone. For the widow, this Christian community gathered to support her as she buried her son. And if the widow's son hadn't risen from the dead, this community would be there to love her and support her through her loss. Following the events of Friday and in the days to follow, we are present to this power of community. The policemen and women who have stepped forward, the paramedics, nurses, and doctors who have stepped forward, people in the community who have stepped forward to help those who have been injured, those who have lost those they love. This is the miracle of community that we are part of here at this church. We celebrate together as we did last Sunday, as we honored our graduates and our choir, and we are also here to support each other through loss and hard times. As a Christian community, we are part of a community that stretches from this lifetime into the next. We are gathered here to support each other in this lifetime, and then there is a communion of saints that awaits us in the next. But it's important that we focus on the present and what is real for us now. What the widow's son rising from the dead represents is at the heart of Christian community and our life together. In his rising from the dead, we are reminded that anything is possible. And in reflecting on the violence and death that happened on Friday, and in the months and years past, we hold something important in our hearts. Hope. Hope that not all is lost. That people can heal and that our community can heal. Let us now take time to pray together for those in need of Christ's love, and then gather at this table. It is at this table that we are reminded of Christ's death and resurrection. It is at this table that we are filled with hope. It is at this table that we are strengthened to take action, to go out into the world to love and serve, to bring peace and hope, and to spread the gospel of love. Amen.